So we'll start by drafting the basic bodice. Okay, that's basic bodice pattern using the measurements given. So I have categorized the measurements according to the vertical and the horizontal measurements. So I don't know if you can see this. Now, I believe you already know how to draft the basic bodice pattern. So I've gone ahead to mark out the bust point, under bust, the half length, which I also call the waist, and the basque length. Okay, so let's confirm this. So this is the starting point, which is the shoulder line. From this point, the bust point is at 10 inches. Okay, 10 inches. The under bust, so let's place it well. The bust point is at 10 inches. The under bust is at 14 inches. The waist or the half length is at 17 inches. You can see this. Now, from the half length, I added 6 inches to get our back's length. That is the V, because she wants it sharp. She wants it very pointy. That is why I added 6 inches. So the standard is 4, but 4 is not sharp. It's not deep. So you can add 4 to 5 to 6 inches. So I used 6 inches from the half length, and that's why we arrived at 23 inches for the back length. Okay, good. So having done this, now we move to the shoulder. We're going to place the shoulder measurement, which is 17 divided by 2. Okay, that is 8.5. Normally, because we'll be using sleeve, that's because we'll be adding sleeve, we are supposed to add half inch to these measurements. That is allowance for joining the sleeve. But I'll be leaving it at this 8.5, because even the 17 inches is very wide for this bust measurement. Okay, we are using bust 40, right? So I'll just leave it at that 8.5 for the shoulder. Here it is. Then our neck width is at 3 inches. And the neck depth is at 3.5. Okay, even the 3.5 is a bit deep for turtleneck or bishop collar. It's a bit deep, but let's maintain it because you said you don't want it to choke. Okay, you don't want it to be choking. So this is it. Let me just outline it. So here we have it. So I want to have a perfect, that is a nice curve here. I want us to have a nice curve here so that our collar would sit well, or the turtleneck would sit really nice. Okay, so let me use pencil to draw this. When I've gotten what I want, I would then use my marker to outline it so that I can see it very well. So we're going to go, we're going with this neckline. So for our shoulder, we'll be coming down by 1 inch for shoulder slope. Okay, I'll connect it back to the neckline. Okay, now to get our armhole depth, you come up by 2 inches from the bust line. Just step up by 2 inches from the bust line. That is to get your chest line or upper bust line, which is also the armhole depth. Okay, so we want to make sure that the measurement we have here is the same measurement we have at the shoulder. Okay, so this is it, 8.5. So this is where we have it. Now I'll just connect like so, then would outline it 2 inches. So just outline this. This is our chest line or the upper bust line. Okay, this is where we'll be placing our armhole curve. So at this line now, we'll take the bust circumference divided by 4. So we're using bust circumference of 40 inches divided by 4. That is 10 inches. So we'll mark it. Okay, then we'll find the midpoint of this line. So we have 7 inches there. The midpoint will be at 3.5. Then we'll step in by half inch, and we'll make our armhole curve. So I believe you already know why we're stepping in by half inch, to eliminate bulginess at that armhole area. So now we're going to just connect this to form our armhole curve. Okay, and then we have it. All right, having gotten to this point, it's time to create our bust curve. First of all, we're going to just place our nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. So nipple to nipple measurement here is 9 inches divided by 2. That is 4.5. So we are going to mark 4.5 all the way down. We're marking it all the way down to the bask point and we'll connect. Okay, so when you have done this, you also measure your shoulder and you find the midpoints. So you can do that by just folding your tape. So just folding your tape, and here is our midpoint. Okay, now we'll connect it to the bust points. We connect it to the bust points. So we'll have it there. Having done this now, we're going to place our dart. Okay, so for this bust measurement, for this size, we are using 1 inch on both sides. Okay, for someone that is bigger, you can use 1 inch on this side and 1.5 on this side. So we're marking 1 inch on both sides, 1 inch here and 1 inch here. So we are doing this all the way down. We are doing this all the way down, and we'll connect. Okay, so by the time you have done this, at the bust point, you're stepping down by 1 inch. Okay, you step down by 1 inch, then you're going to connect this using a curve. So make sure you're just placing your curve the right way and you connect. You connect and then you do this as well. You connect. Okay, I'm just trying to blend this out here. Now for this upper side, remember this is a chest line. On this chest line, you're stepping up by 1 inch. Also step up by 1 inch. Then at this point, you're going to come in by ½ inch. Come in by ½ inch, and towards this side you take, at this point you're coming in by ½ inch, right? ½ inch. Then on this side you're coming out by 1 inch. Okay, so you just connect this back to the bust point like so. So remember to draft with pencil. So I'm using marker just so that you can see the marks clearly. So but when you draft with pencil, you have a neat work. Okay, so by the time you have connected, just blend it up here. Blend it up to have this nice curve for your cup. Okay, so just make sure everything is blended nicely. Yeah, so you can use your curve. So you can actually use your curve ruler to smoothen it out. Okay, just smoothing it out here, and you do same for this other side. Okay, so by the time you have done this now, it's time to determine how deep your cup would be. So we can maintain this chest line, okay, and we can step a little bit down if we want, depending on how deep you want it to be, on how open you want it to be. So following the picture we have, we can come down a little bit. Okay, just step down by ½ inch here from the chest line. I step down by ½ inch so that it can be a little bit deep, just like what we have in the picture. So at this point that I step down by ½ inch, I'm still going to go in by ½ inch. Okay, so you see what I have here. So this is the center of our corset. You know, I took ½ inch, so by the time I open it up, it will be 1 inch. So you go in by ½ inch, and we're going to connect from this point to this point. So you're just going to place your curve ruler. Okay, depending on how you want it, the shape you want, you're just going to place it that way, and you connect. You connect this way. Okay, then you also come down to the bust, to the under bust point. You place your curve ruler the way you want it to, you know, the curve, to have a beautiful curve. You would connect it like so. Okay, so this is what we have. Now at this side, you can see where we marked our armhole line, and you can see where we measured the bust circumference. So we are going to take half of this, that is, measure it and find the midpoint. I hope this is clear. This is where we measured our shoulder line, that is the shoulder, and we marked out our armhole line at this point. Then we measured the bust circumference and we got it at this point. So in between this space, that's where we're going to just measure it and find the midpoint. Okay, just find the midpoint, you mark it. So this is where we'll be connecting this other curve to. So just place it this way. So there are different ways to get your cup. You can decide to step down a bit by ½ inch, then connect. You can just connect it direct, okay, depending on what you want. So sometimes I just like to just connect it, and then let's see. You can always try things out. So if I'm to step down by ½ inch from that point and connect, this is what I'll have. Then this one will come like this, okay, meaning that we are reducing, that we are extending the armhole. So because we are going to still go this way, but I want us to maintain this armhole so that it won't be gaping or slacking at that side. So we are maintaining this armhole. So I'm just going to connect it up. So I just hope this is clear. You can just follow what I am doing exactly the way I am doing it, okay? That's why I'm here for you. So now we're just going to connect it like this, okay, to maintain our armhole line. So by the time we have connected it this way, you now place your curve ruler this way and you connect. But before you do that, balance off this side, okay? So the way you can balance it up is by measuring this one. This is where we have it. You also measure this one from that point. You also measure this one. This is where we have it. So you can just balance it up like this. Okay. Then from that point now, we would go this way. We go this way and blend it into the armhole. Everything just go into the armhole. Okay, and have a nice cup here. So here we are using just 2-piece cup. Yes, if you zoom that picture very well, and you see inside and beneath the lace is a two panel cup that we have there. So we are cutting out this, we are cutting out this. Okay, so by the time you have done this, now we are replacing this dart here. We are replacing this dart, so don't forget, if you don't replace it, you'll be short. So what we have here is 1.5. You replace it. Okay, you replace it. Then you can add your seam allowance of 1.5. Use seam allowance of 1.5 because of the lining and the stitches they're going to make. So this is the actual measurement here, and this is the seam. These are actual measurement and these are seam allowance. So I hope that is clear. We replaced this from where we placed our bust circumference. Okay. I hope I'm not making a mistake. Sorry, you're replacing it from where we have our bust circumference. Please, this is it here. Okay. Then you add seam allowance of 1.5. So let's not make a mistake. This is it here. I hope this is clear. Replacing this from where you have your bust circumference measurements. Where you place your bust circumference, you replace this dart, then you add seam allowance. We have so many marks here. I hope you are not confused. I hope you are not confused. This one is not there. This one is not there. So let me just cancel them. Okay. So when you have done this, you also come to the under bust. You are going to place your under bust circumference divided by 4. Replace your dart, add your seam allowance. Okay, so the under bust circumference you have here is 33.2. Okay, 33.2, that is what is given. Divide by 4, we have 8.3. So these are 8.3 here. I'll make a mark there. Replace my dart of 2 inches. Remember, we took 1 inch on both sides. So let me use pencil so I will not have too much marks, and don't want you to get confused. This is our dart of 2 inches, making this the actual measurement, and seam allowance of 1.5. We're using seam allowance of 1.5. You can use 2 inches if you want. You can use 1.5 to avoid shortage. Okay, I prefer to have excess than to have shortage, but not so much excess so that you don't end up getting confused. So at the waistline, we do the same thing. The waist circumference given is 31.5. Divided by 4, we have 7.8. So these are 7.8. Yeah, almost close to 8 inches. 7.8 is here. Replace that of 2 inches and seam allowance of 1.5 inch. So let me just connect all this so that it will be clear to you. This is the final measurements. Okay, this is the final measurements. This is the final measurement. Now I want us to separate the seam allowance from the actual measurement. So we mark it out. This is the actual measurement here. After replacing our darts, this is what we have. Okay, this is what we have after replacing our darts. This is the actual measurement. Then we added seam allowance of 1.1 inch. So this is it. Now we want to create our bask effect. Okay, so we want to create that bask effect. Before you do this, just close up your dart. Before you do this, close up your dart. The reason is so that when you cut it, it would align when you're joining it. So take from one point of your dart like this, and you merge it to the other points. Make sure that the lines are meeting each other. Okay, make sure that the lines are meeting each other, as you can see. So you just do this. You just do this. By the time you do this, you now mark your bask. You place your ruler at the actual measurement, okay, leaving the seam allowance. At this actual measurement, you place your ruler slanting like this, touching the bask line. Then you draw your bask like this. You draw it. Okay, so this is what we have. So that by the time you stitch the center piece to the side piece, it will just align. So by the time you open it, it's not looking as if it's going to align, but definitely it's going to align by the time you cut and join it. Okay, so now we are going to cross-check our work, making sure that everything is okay before we go ahead and cut. Okay, usually I add a seam allowance at the shoulder here, but because we're going to add collar to this, I'm not going to add any seam allowance so that we don't have it gaping. Okay, I want it to really sit nicely at the neck. So that is it. Is there any other thing we are missing? So just cross check, then we'll go ahead and cut. Now to cut it, because I folded my paper, I would use my pins to hold my paper together so that when I'm cutting it, everything would be in place. Okay, before cutting, we need to label this. So I can call this A and B. Okay, can call this A and B. And I want to also have it at this other side. So I'll just write it this way. And B. Or by the time we cut it, we can use an arrow to indicate that this is how we are joining it. Okay, we'll do same for the other side. So I'll just and for this side as well, you know that this is the center front. You know that this is the center front and this is the side front. Okay, so you can just label it that way. Let me also highlight our seam allowance so that we know that this is actually what we are cutting. So I'll hold it down with my pin, then go ahead and cut. Okay, lest I forget the keyhole. Okay, we're supposed to create the keyhole. Now, because we'll be adding color to this, we need to step down a bit. Okay, then create the keyhole. So we can use we'll be using like 1/2 inch to join the collar. So the 1/2 inch for joining the collar, then a little space. You know, we need a little more space. So we can use like this is 7.25. Okay, 7.25 at this point. That is what I'm using. So I don't want it to be so much. That's why I'm not using up to 1 inch. So 7.25 is okay. So now for the keyhole not to be too wide or too small, we can just connect it to this point here, so that by the time we stitch our cup, the keyhole is coming this way. So let me just outline, let me use my pencil to mark it, then I would outline it with my marker. So this is the keyhole, okay? Let me just outline it using my marker. So this is what we have. So you can see where I connected it to this first cup, so that by the time we stitch our cup, it's coming here. In this way, it won't be too wide, neither will it be too narrow. Okay, so this is just okay. Now I think we can go ahead and cut. Okay, we can go ahead and cut this out. Let me just pin everything together. So to cut, I'll first of all remove this one. So this is the yoke. So let's first of all remove it from here. So now we remove the keyhole. So don't forget that when you're cutting this on the lace, you're going to add seam allowance for joining it back to this, okay? So you use this to indicate that you're going to add seam allowance. Then for this one now, we'll go ahead and cut it. So just cut like this. So you can remove this one separately and you just cut it like this. So you can see what we have here. Okay, so by the time we stitch this is what we have. You can see that it is aligning. You can see that it is aligning now here. Then we have our curve and we have our key. We have our yoke with the keyhole. Okay, so let me just open this up. Let me open this up. I like to mark, show that this is how we have it. Okay, so we don't get confused. Then as for this one as well, I would like to extend the marks here, just for everything, just for you not to get confused, you understand, just for everything to be clear to you. So that is why I'm doing this. So I want everything to just be clear. That's why I'm doing this. Okay, so by the time I open it up, it should all be clear to you. So now let's open it up and see what we have here before we go ahead to draft the back. So one by one. So this is it for this. I hope you can see this. Okay, so also go ahead to mark out the boning channels. Yeah, we'll go ahead to mark out the boning channels, because for this one we're not splitting anything. We are not splitting anything. So this for this side, while this one is for this side. Okay, this one is for this side and this one is for this side. So you can see how I marked out everything to avoid confusion. Okay, to avoid confusion, this is what we have. Okay, this is what we have. So by the time we stitch, everything will be in place, just for you to see. That's why I'm arranging it. Then for our yoke would come in like this. So the yoke would come in from this point. This point and this other point. So remember, it's where I am. This is where we connected it to, where we will stitch the cup. Where we stitch the cup, that is where it will be connected to. Okay, like this. Where we stitch the cup, that is where we will have the keyhole. Like this. So you can see what we have here. This is just the paper. So by the time this is stitched and the fabric, you see how nice looking it would be. Okay, so with this we'll go ahead to mark out the boning channels. So let me just put this together. So just follow it this way. Okay, mark out everything so that at any point in time you won't get confused. So for our boning channel, obviously at this center will be having one channel there. So we'll be having boning here. So I'll just mark it. I'll just mark this. This is one boning channel. You can see how deep our bask is from the waist. So I think this is sharp enough. This is deep enough. From the waist point here to this point is deep enough. Don't forget, this is our seam allowance. So make sure you're marking your seam allowance out of the way so that you know what you have left to create your boning channel. So here we have seam allowance here. Yeah, so 1.5. Okay, here it is. Here is where we have our seam allowance. Okay, so from this point now, you would measure what you have here, find the midpoint. Okay, this is the midpoint. This is the midpoint here. So we're going to have one channel here. So just connect it neatly. So we're going to have one channel here. Same on this side. Okay, we're not done with the center piece yet. So for the center piece, we have one channel at the center here. Then you also find the midpoint of what you have left on this side, and you're going to create a boning channel here. You do same for this side. We're going to create a boning channel here. Okay, so just connect this. Connect it the way you want. You can slant it, you can just make it straight. So connect it, but make sure that you have something that everything is looking nicely arranged. So that is one thing you should consider. Make sure it's nicely arranged. Okay, so you can always measure. So we have 1, 2, 3 boning channels at this center, and at the side here I've marked out one here. So for this one as well, we'll mark out one also. So we have one here. So just draw it. So like I said, you can just make sure everything is accurate by measuring. So you just mark it. So you can see what we have here. See what we have here. So all together in front, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boning channels for the front. Okay, we have 5 boning channels for the front. So you just go ahead and create your piping where you insert the boning. That is it. Very simple. You don't need to start slashing anything for this very design. You don't need to slash anything. Just create your channels and fix in your boning. Okay, then you go ahead and embellish it with a full bridal lace. So that is it for the front. Now let's move over to draft the back. Okay, now we'll be drafting the back. Okay, so this is our zipper, our allowance. This is the zipper allowance. Okay, because there'll be zipper inside, that's in between. There'll be zipper before the lacing. There'll be zipper. So for the neck depth for the back, I used 1 inch. Okay, because we'll be having the turtleneck collar. Then this is our shoulder. Measuring from after the zipper, we have our 8.5 inch shoulder measurement. Then the 3 inches width for our neckline. Okay, then the bust point from here. This is the bust point, 10 inches. And this is the half length, 17 inches. So at the back, we don't have Basque. That's why I didn't add anything here. Okay. Then for our chest line, remember we're stepping up by 2 inches from the bust point to get our chest line. Okay. So we want to make sure that all we have here is 8.5. So this is where we have it. Now let's draw our armhole length. Then our chest line. So this is our chest line. Okay, so for our armhole, we'll place our bust circumference divided by 4. Here we have it. And we'll just connect. So for the back, we don't need to step in. We don't need to step in, just connect. Okay, so this is our back armhole. So now we'll be creating, and this part is our yoke. So our yoke is just straight at the back. We'll be having buttons and loop here. So now we'll create our darts. So 4.5 is our nipple to nipple divided by 2. That is 4.5. So we'll mark it from the chest line. Yes, so your back dart will get to the chest line. Okay, and we'll connect it. That is it. So on this point on the waistline, we'll take half inch on both sides for our dart. Half inch on both sides, then we'll connect it. So be sure to have half inch there, and we'll connect it. Okay, connect it. Remember, we want to create space for lacing. Okay, so we're going to have to cut out what we need for lacing. So to do that now, at this point we're using what we have here. That is from this point to where we have our darts. Okay, while on the lower side I will just take 1.5 so that I can have that V shape. If you look at the picture, you see that it is wider at the upper part, then it goes down. So that is why I took 1.5 here, while on this side we are maintaining our dart line. Okay, so just connect it up like this. Just connect it there. So now we are going to close up this dart. Yes, we're going to cut it open and close it. Okay, by the time I cut it out, by the time I cut out the pattern, then I'll close up the dart. Okay, but for now, let's take our horizontal measurements. So at this we already have our bust measurement here. So for the waist, our waist 31.5 divided by 4, that's 7.8. Remember, we're measuring from after the zipper allowance. 7.8. Okay, this will have it. 7.8. Then we're replacing this 1 inch dart. This 1 inch dart plus our 1.5 seam allowance. So it's 1.5. Remember, the seam allowance we used for the front. That's what we are going to use here. Okay, that's what we are going to use here. Then let's also add it here. 1.5 for our seam allowance. Then we can connect. So if you want to make use of underboss, you can do that, but there's no need for that at the back. There's no need for that. So this is it. Okay, so now for our yoke, we already have our yoke. Make sure your yoke is the same length with the front. So it has to be the same length with the front, as you can see. Okay, but that of the back is just straight, and that is it. We're going to go ahead now to cut. So for this zipper allowance at the yoke part, this is what you would use to that is, you would hem this zipper allowance, hem it, then you fix your button and the loop. Okay, so that is what you use this zipper allowance area to do for the yoke. That's what you use it to do for the yoke. So I think we are done. There's nothing more. So just go ahead and cut out our yoke first. So just cut out the yoke and have it. So this is what we have for the back yoke. So we're going to open it up. So by the time you cut this on the lace, you're just going to hem the zipper allowance. So you can trim it, whichever that you can reduce it, then hem it to match up, okay, with this. By the time you have fixed your zip, you hem this one to match up with what you have here. So for this one now, we're going to cut out this part. We are cutting out this part so that we fix our loop for the lacing here and stitch it. Okay, stitch it back. So we are going to cut this out now. So mind what I did here now. Just mind what I did. You can see how I cut it out. Okay, you can see what we have here. Now I would open up my darts. I'll open up my darts and close it. So I want to also mark it on this side. So I'll just open it up like this. Normally when drafting pattern, I don't fold the paper, but I'm doing this just to make you see everything clearly, okay? So I'm just going to close up this dart. So I have my sellotape here. So I have closed the dart, okay, and this is what we have. So I'm just marking to show that this is the side that will be joined to the yoke, okay. So I forgot to cut out the excess after placing my allowance, as you can see, but I'll do that when I'm joining it to the skirt part. So I'm also marking this side. So all this is just to avoid confusion. So we know that this is the upper part of the back bodice, okay. So that is it. So you can see the excess after taking my allowance there. I didn't remember to cut it out, but I'll do that later on. You'll see when I'll cut it out when I'm trying to match it up with the skirt part. So this is our zipper allowance. We need to open it up. Yes, we need to open it up. So here it is. So at this part that I cut, that is where we'll be having our loop. This side, that's where we'll fix the loop. Okay, just fix your loop, and then that is it for the lacing. You fix your loop for the lacing. Okay. So by the time we open it up, you can see what we have here. So the zipper will be at the center there while we fix our loop, and then the yoke part would come in as well. So by the time you fix your zipper, the zipper will extend to the skirt. Okay, hope you know that the zipper will extend to the skirt. So this excess we have here, we'll have to hem it, then fix the button and the loop for closing up the button. Okay, because by the time you have fixed your zipper, this would be left. This part at the yoke will be left. So you have to fold it in, fix the zipper, fix the button and the buttonhole or the loop. Then at this side, we are fixing our loop for lacing. Okay, the loops will go in between for lacing, just like as it is in that picture. Okay.